Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of On the Couch. I'm John Vogel, I'm your host, as normal, here with Ian Nash from our sponsors, Nash Jingles. And we have got a special bass for you today to look at. Now, before we do that, like always, if you haven't already, I know you have, but if you haven't, if this is your first time, welcome to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button, hit the like button, and share us with all your friends. And let them join in some of the exciting things that we look at and that we talk about. I want to give a quick shout out to the supporters of the channel. Rob Vanderbroek in the Netherlands, of course, we're a big fan of his. He's a big fan of ours. And probably the premium bass players Facebook group, Bass Up Front. When you've done here, get onto Facey, Google it up and join it. For all things bass, you will see basses you've never heard of, basses talked about, you get ideas, tips, great bass page. I've been in and out.
It's like a family page.
It's like a family page.
Yeah,
I've been in and out of numerous bass pages and bass chat groups, and after a while you just go, oh, I'm over this, and you leave. This one though is something special. It's just everyday average guys like us that just have a passion for bass and just want to share with each other. There's no airs, graces, pretenses. Monthly raffles, tech ideas. It's a great show. Great Facebook page. Speaking of great basses, today I guess is exciting for me because you may recall, if you've seen previous episodes, that recently through Ian and Honor's brokerage side of their business, I bought a Gibson Grabber, which belonged to Ian. Why he let it go, I don't know, but don't tell him. It's mine. I've got it now. Now, with that in mind, Ian has a Gibson G3. I've got my eye on that. That's another story for another time. I happen to be trawling through Facebook Marketplace, evil site, worse than Evil Bay, but it seems to have replaced Evil Bay. And I was looking at a Dean Metalman bass guitar that had come up, and one thing led to another, and I was scrolling through. I decided I wanted to get the triplet or the threesome of Gibson basses. I've got the Grabber, I want the G3, and of course a Ripper. Lo and behold, what came up?
An Epiphone Ripper.
An Epiphone Ripper. It is the only time on Facebook Marketplace, on Gumtree, or on eBay that I have seen a Gibson Ripper / Grabber / G3 for sale in Australia. And this is the guitar. It was too good an opportunity to let go. I sent the guy a message straight away. I made him an offer. He came back and said he'd had 6 inquiries. I was the first, and he accepted my offer. And all in the space of a flurry, in the space of a couple of hours, the deal was done, and within 24 hours this stunning bass was back home with me. Now, it's a black Epiphone Gibson Ripper copy, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's a copy. It's an Epiphone, which is owned by Gibson, as you know. It's come with a homemade hard case, and it is a cracking bass. And of course, for me, one of my bass heroes, Gene Simmons from Kiss, of course, in the 70s was a big Grabber Ripper player. So hence I've got the t-shirt here with the Gene Simmons reference on it to go with the bass. Yeah, it's a great bass. Ian, you've owned a Ripper. You had a Gibson Ripper and you sold it about a year ago. Yeah, and you had an Epiphone, the same colour, way back.
So, let's wind back to I think about 2001, 2002. No, it would have been about 2001. I was on the hunt. I was on the hunt for a Gibson Ripper. Couldn't find one. There were none for sale in Australia, because Australia's a pretty unique second-hand guitar market. Demographically, yeah. Because you've got to remember, a lot of Gibsons and other high-end guitars don't make it to Australia. They only send to Australia what they think will sell.
Yeah.
So, some of the other stuff you've got to hunt overseas.
Yeah. And Australia is such a small market.
Well, that's right.
For a lot of companies,
it's like only
it's not worthwhile sending a low number out.
Only 0.5% of Gibson's manufactured make it to Australia.
Yeah. Compared to, yeah, that's right.
So 1 out of every 200 comes
to Australia. Yeah.
So that's just putting it in perspective.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I got myself a Epiphone Ripper, same as this, with the single pickup, black, stuff like that. In fact, when and these are Korean made, you know, as you can see. And I'm thinking that it was probably made in the same year as this one. They only made it for a short period of time, probably 2, maybe 3 years. Then they stopped. Then about 7 or 8 years after that, they brought a second series out, and they had 2 pickups.
And it was called the limited edition. I think the original series, went from like 87, 88 to about 90, I think. And
quite possibly. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
So,
it was later on.
And I've only seen one second edition one that was in with our friends Peter and Nate at Island Guitars in Hawaii. They had a second-hand one there. That's the only time I've ever seen the second edition Epiphone Ripper. But anyway, so this one, beautiful. You know, do not be afraid of buying a bass guitar with 1 pickup. This pickup is just sensational. The action is amazing. You can play all up and down the fretboard, and there's no buzz. So the setup is just wild. That's the sort of expectation you get from Korean-made Epiphone guitars and basses. Their stuff is just first class, equal to anything else that comes out of the Asian market. That's my opinion. Okay, really, really good. And of course, made this series of guitars made famous by people like Gene Simmons, Peter Cetera, Australia's Ted Mowry, and so on. And you know, they really are. And surprisingly, for a big body bass, they're quite light.
Yes,
they're not over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Les Pauls that are heavier than this.
Oh, no.
It's well balanced. I mean, we put a strap on, you start playing, and you've probably seen some of my videos where I'm bopping around with a G3 or a grabber. I mean, they really are a great guitar to play.
Yeah.
Really, really cool, good bass to play. Okay. Standard open machine heads, stuff like that. Yep. Nice gauge string. You know,
one of the things you hit on that I like, and that's made me appeal, or has appealed to me about these basses, the grabber that I bought, again, 1 pickup, but it was a sliding pickup. This is 1 pickup and it's fixed, so it's just a tone and volume knob. Now, if you're someone like me, I'm not a musician by any stretch. I'm just a very basic player, and I like that. Sometimes you get a little overwhelmed if they've got 3 pickups and 6 control knobs and push in and pull out pots and toggle switches and you know, if you're that sort of intricate player, then that's good. But some of us, it's just basic bass players. I love it. It's 1 volume, 1 tone, 1 pickup. What can go wrong? Nothing.
Yeah, that's right. And look, you know, probably the biggest selling single pickup bass of all time, the Fender Precision. Why mess with something that doesn't?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that worked.
And yet still a bass that you could pretty well plug in and play most genres, if not all genres of music.
Yeah, and the great thing is, where it's a little bit different to the Gibson Ripper, is it doesn't have that really low end woofy sound, which some of those Gibsons did, and I love that sound. But really, these amazing. And for the price, like if I remember correctly, they're coming out in Australia, they were selling for about $750 brand new, without a case. It was just in a packaged box. They were just sensational value. I wish I'd still had mine. I sold mine to Will Clayfield of Black Whiskey. Yeah, and he's still got it. And he uses his in the studio and on stage live. And I tell you what, it's the perfect bass for heavy rock, heavy metal, and for a live performance. It is just he cuts it.
Yeah, and they're a good looking bass. And I guess that's the thing too. You look at brands like Epiphone is owned by Gibson, Squire I think is owned by Fender.
Yeah.
Now you may look at an Epiphone and think, oh, that's a poor man's Gibson. Okay, maybe it is. But these days...
Tell that to Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah, that's right. These days, the quality of an Epiphone In fact, there are professional musos out there like Joe Bonamassa who, for some of the guitars, he'll default to an Epiphone or pick up an Epiphone before he'll pick up the equivalent in a Gibson because the quality
is
so
right.
good.
Yeah.
And it's a third of the cost.
And of course, it's going to be set up the way he likes it.
Yeah.
And it's going to have all these little inconsistencies.
Yeah.
But so what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is, don't be scared. Like for me, the Holy Grail is a Gibson. That's always on the wish list. But you know what? Until you get to that point, this isn't a bad in between or a bad substitute.
Well, this is. I mean, before I discovered Gibsons in around 2014, I had a wardrobe full of Epiphones. I had SG, the Les Paul. I had the Viola bass, and I had the Ripper.
Yeah.
That was my stable of guitars.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was playing live then, and I was doing some studio work. But I mean, as workhorses playing live, never let me down once.
Yeah.
You know,
just a good, solid, basic bass.
Yeah. I mean, I just after picking this up today, after you showing it to me, it just brought back so many great memories of playing with one. I just can't believe I was end up selling it. So watch out, Will. I just realised what a great, bass. How great the quality is and the workmanship of it. I mean, it's all over it. The thing with the Epiphone Rippers, they only came out in two colours, black and the natural.
Yep.
Which is a bit of a shame because they could come out in the sunburst. It would have been pretty cool. Or the cherry red. That would have been pretty cool.
And look, if I had the option, I probably would have gone the natural colour. And you've heard me say in previous episodes, I'm a bit over black guitars, but let me tell you, as I said, this is the one and only Ripper I've seen for sale in Australia that I can think of.
I've never seen one.
And so it was at a good price. I couldn't walk off.
You've got that knack of picking up guitars like this, basses like this. Like you got this. You got
the Vantage.
Yeah, like, wow.
That's a cracking bass.
Picked up the,
and that's another episode we did a little while ago. Go back and look at that. Check that out if you haven't
seen
seen
it. The BC Rich Acoustic.
The BC Rich Acoustic, the Mockingbird Acoustic. That was on Gumtree.
Yeah.
So
and then my wife will pick up the Congress.
Yes,
guy.
The Hoffer.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, my wife will tell you I probably spend too much time of a night. Trawling marketplace.
There's never too much time.
But hey, if that's the worst thing I do, at least I'm not out, gamble and drinking. I don't know, but look.
Got to have one voice.
If that's the worst voice.
Guitar collecting is one.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, this is great. Look, it's thanks for bringing it in,
mate.
John,
thanks for having me again.
This is just
and it's great to share it. But if you see one, jump on it because they are rare as hen's teeth. And if you see something you like it, but it's not the Gibson or the Fender you want, it's a Epiphone or a Squire, or don't be scared to jump on it.
Yeah, and also if you're having difficulties, give us a yell.
Give you guys a yell
at nashjingles.com.au. And see if we can
find something
help
for
you
you.
out. Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks again, and we look forward to catching up with you next time. Take care.
Cheers.
Till then.